Okay, so we're going to look at how to work on the Cartesian plane now. Okay, how to work on the Cartesian plane. So remember, with the Cartesian plane, you got the x-axis and the y-axis. And remember, we spoke about when you go to the right, the x values are positive. When you go to the left, the x values are negative. Okay, and then when you go up, the y values are positive. When you go down, the y values are negative. Okay. Now, when you see a coordinate like that, this coordinate, as you can see, we call this coordinate P. It has an x value of -2 and a y value of 2. Okay, that's the x and y value for the coordinate. Okay, so that obviously means that this part we went 2 units back, so we can say let's call that part -2, and we went 2 units up, so we can say let's call that one 2. Okay, so you can put them in if you want to. You can say this part -2, I went 2 units back. The distance, obviously the distance is actually 2, and distance is always positive. But we're going to work with -2 and 2 because we're going back and we're going up. So we don't really see it as a distance. We rather see it as on a Cartesian plane as negative values on this side. Okay, this one, OP, you always see that as a distance. It's a line. The other two are coordinates, your x coordinate and your y coordinate, x and y. So when they ask you, what is sine 135? Okay, sine 135. Now we can see here, this part is 135. So now from this angle, we're looking at sine 135 is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, from the angle opposite over hypotenuse. But now the problem is we don't know what is the hypotenuse side. So most of the time, you can actually say always, when we give you a question with a Cartesian plane, the first thing you're going to do is use Pythagoras to find the missing side. Because we normally give you 2 of the sides. And then you use Pythagoras to find the third side. So we need to find OP first. Before we can find sine 135, opposite over hypotenuse, we first need to find the hypotenuse side. Okay? So we start by saying the opposite, the hypotenuse side OP squared. Okay, the long side squared is the short side squared plus the short side squared. Just use Pythagoras. So we're going to say it's 2 squared plus -2 squared. Okay, the short side squared plus the short side squared is equal to the long side squared. Just use Pythagoras. So then OP will be, obviously it's 4 plus 4 is 8, so OP will be the square root of 8. Okay, which you can also write as 2 times the square root of 2. If you simplify this, you will see it's 4 times 2. If you take the 4 out, it's 2 square root of 2. So you can write it as 2 square root of 2. It's the same thing. The calculator will show you. Square root of 8 is 2 square root of 2. Okay? Now we can say sine 135 is opposite over hypotenuse. So it's 2 over hypotenuse, which is 2 square root of 2. And then 2 divided by 2 is 1, so the answer is 1 over square root of 2. So that's sine 135, 1 over square root of 2, simplified. Okay, now let's look at cos. Cos 135 is from here adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's -2 over 2 square root of 2. When you simplify this, you're going to get -1 over square root of 2. And then the last one, tan 135, is opposite over adjacent. So it's 2 over -2. 2 over -2. And when you simplify that, tan 135 is -1. Okay, so there's the answers.